So, Kiran, I've known you for a long time, and there is many. If you do the search, there are many, many titles for you. Starting with, you're India's first in so many things. You're the India's first self-made woman billionaire. You're the first woman to chair board of governors for IIM, and you are. An interesting fact: you speak six languages, from what I understand, and probably I'm sure you added a couple more since it's been written in the wiki about you. And you're an art collector, and you are a philanthropist, and you're a first woman to receive the first Indian woman to receive the Atmar Gold Medal in 2014 for outstanding contribution to science and chemistry. You're Padma Shri, Padma Bhushan, etc. And all this started. I really want to start with how you this whole career started with a drama. Your life is full of drama, and it started with a drama of you wanted to be a medical student, and that didn't happen. You wanted to be a brewmaster. You went to Australia. You were the only woman in your entire class. Graduate top of the class. Come to India, and then nobody wants to give you a job as a brewmaster. And then you say, oh, okay, maybe I think I'll do enzymes in another field. And the thing I wanted you to address in this whole thing is there is rejection after rejection after rejection for a 20 something, 24 or 25-year-old woman, Indian woman who's starting something. But you never give up. You're like, If not this, then that. If not that, then something, like. But I have covered probably at least a couple of years of anguish and disappointment and upset and anger into like a few sentences. So I want you to start with what is it that gives you this strength to just, what was it like, first of all, to want to do something and not being able to do it and say, okay, but I'm just going to do this? I just want to hear your state of mind of that rejection to pushing through.
So thanks, Lakshmi. Always nice to see you, though not virtually. I'd have preferred this in person.
I
But
know, me too.
let me answer your question in many ways. Okay. First and foremost, I don't think I was angry, if you know what I mean.
Okay.
Uh, I somehow accepted the fact that there was a gender bias and a serious gender bias in society. I was trying to change societal mindset. So, as someone who wanted to change societal mindset, I was prepared to accept this rejection, if you know what I mean.
Hmm. Yeah.
And one of the interesting things is that for everyone who has this resilience and courage to fight the system, you need someone to back you, especially from home. Okay.
Yeah.
And my parents, especially my father, was my biggest proponent. Okay. So I knew that, at home, I felt so welcome, so everyone was proud of me. So I had that strength and that courage of my conviction. And even when I was being rejected, my father would say they don't know what they're doing. You know, they're missing out on someone like you. So it kind of gave you that rejection was kind of compensated by someone who believed in you, right? So ultimately, I think women have to first believe in themselves, and it is very important for their support system to give them that belief. So for me, I think every woman who succeeds, and I've spoken to many successful business women and women leaders, and every one of them says how strong a support their families were. Okay.
It's true.
Every one of
Yeah.
them, in fact, had a father figure who was very, very supportive, a family that was very supportive. I haven't heard any woman leader who has succeeded saying, my family just rejected me, abandoned me, and threw me out, and I had to fend for myself. So I think that is very important.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
basically, all of us emanate or come from a family that believes that women can do something, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure you also came from that kind of background.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
So I did not feel angry. I felt that I had to do a lot more to change the societal mindset. I knew I was going to be rejected, but I didn't give up because I said, okay, I'll keep doing things which will finally work. When it wasn't working that well in India, I thought maybe I should go out of India because maybe the societal mindset there may not be so bad.
Mm-hmm.
And before I could go abroad, of course, I had this opportunity to start my own company. I thought, oh, wow, what a wonderful opportunity that is. Maybe I can change the societal mindset by starting my own company. So that's how I started. But
Mm-hmm.
even when I started my own company, I was rejected by bankers. I was rejected
Yes.
by people who I wanted to hire. I had a number of other rejections. Okay, um,
Yeah.
but I didn't give up because I said, look, this is my opportunity to change their mindset. I know
Correct.
someone somewhere will believe me, and
Yeah.
some banker will believe me. Not all bankers will have this mindset, and I could find those people, if you know what I mean.
Mm.
So that's the way I actually pursued and persevered and finally prevailed.
It's so interesting you say this. I was, when I was 22, 21, I finished my MBA and I went for an interview, and they asked me in the final interview that what is a guarantee you won't get married and leave the job? And it upset me so much. I was the one who actually got angry, and I said, I'm leaving the country, and I left. And but it's interesting how, I left, but then 15 years ago I came back and I'm doing whatever I want to do in India. I think whether you're angry, not angry, whether you're upset, not upset, whether you're here or somewhere else, I think the key, what you're saying, is just keep doing something, keep one step forward instead of giving up. I think that's the key. And as you said, even after you started it, getting you've talked in the past about how difficult it was to get employees to join you. And I read somewhere, I don't know if it's true or not, that the first person you joined you was a retired garage mechanic or something like that. And even employing people, getting banks to give money, all these things, it's like just when you think you've gotten over one problem, something else comes. It's just sort of like a whack-a-mole, you put one thing down and something else comes up. So I was actually curious, you talked about your parents, but was there like a quote or a song or is there like a quick thing you have in your head that you keep thinking of every time when things don't happen? Or is it just keep moving forward?
I think I have that kind of a little mantra or something. It's just that I keep moving on.
Yeah.
And I think it's
Yeah.
your attitude. It's that sense of purpose. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what keeps me going. I have this purpose. I want to do things. I want to put India on the map of the world for biotech. I want to pursue. I want to bring the focus and spotlight on STEM education. I want
Yes.
women to pursue, biotech, biology, STEM. I want women to excel in this area. I want young people to excel in this area. I want
Mm-hmm.
young entrepreneurs to think about biotech and life sciences because I keep telling them today is the most exciting time for
Yes.
biology. Because I
Yes.
said, today, thanks to technology, biology has become the new frontier. I mean,
Absolutely.
we
Yeah.
haven't even
Yeah.
scratched at the surface when it comes to biology. And I feel
Correct.
today biology is the most powerful quantum computer you can ever think of. Because
Yeah.
the
Our
way
own bodies, right? Understanding our own brain, our own bodies,
exactly,
just
I mean,
what's happening in
everything is
biotech.
about instant, uh, nanosecond computational capabilities that your body has, that every living cell has. Whether
Correct.
it's cell signaling, whether it's chemical signaling, enzymatic signaling,
Yes.
electron impulses. Look at the
Mm-hmm.
way our body signals and
Yeah.
how it computes and how it responds and how it solves, challenges. I mean, it's
Mm-hmm.
just mind-boggling to think that we don't even understand it all and that we're slowly beginning to understand
Yeah.
how living systems work.
Right. Right.
And I think that's so fascinating. So I
Yeah.
think every young person ought to be fascinated with biology thanks to
Yeah.
technology. Without technology, we would not even understand it. But
Correct.
today,
And
thanks to technology, we
mhm.
are able to do so much, you know.
Correct, correct. And I want to continue in that train of thought that, I mean, first of all, just the genetics itself is such an exploring field today in terms of just how much more we are able to understand ourselves at the cellular level. And then the whole, whether it's our own skin or brain, we know so little about ourselves. And I think one of the things is with the great availability of storage that's much cheaper today and computational power, we are getting to know so much more about it. Like we are almost ready to clone ourselves, and I'm sure in some countries they have cloned people as well. I wanted to talk a little bit to you about what do you think are especially when you go into genetics and epigenetics and all these kinds of stuff, what do you think are the sociological, moralistic, or boundaries we need to draw around ourselves as to how far we need to go? It's the you're absolutely right. In science and tech, it's the most exciting time today. So, talk a little bit about where do you think we are going, and what do we need to watch out for?
So first and foremost, it's not just about genetics and genomics. It's about
Yeah,
omics. Okay.
yeah,
So it's about your genome, it's about your microbiome, it's about
yes,
your proteome, it's
hmm,
about metabolome, it's so many things, okay? So you can't
correct,
really segregate genetics because you can't isolate genetics as that is what will allow you to clone something. No,
correct,
genetics changes in many, many ways depending on the environment, the microenvironment which you live in. So I think we should not look at genetics in the way you are prescribing, right?
okay,
Secondly, I also believe that today you have the power of correcting faulty genes. I think that is so important. You know, many
mhm,
people are born with rare diseases, genetic
yes,
diseases, and today, thanks to CRISPR technologies and gene therapies, you can correct those differences or those deficiencies, which I think
hmm,
is very powerful in terms of
hmm,
what you can do in terms of reversing very debilitating diseases. Many of these diseases actually cut short life. And
correct.
by basically changing the genetics of a person, you can extend life. So I think there are marvelous things about genetics
Yeah,
today.
yeah, yeah.
But I don't know why people keep on focusing on cloning because I think you must understand that every technology can be put to good use and bad use. Now,
Totally agree. Yeah.
and let me tell you, cloning is very important when you want to, you know, breed or cultivate something uh, of high productivity. Say, for instance, you want to clone a rice clone because it's
Yes.
a very high yielding rice clone. Why don't you think there's something wrong with that? Right?
Yeah.
Why does it always have to come to human beings? No,
Hmm.
humans will actually use their moral conscience to decide what should be done and what shouldn't be done. But like
Yeah.
I said, if a human baby is born with genetic deficiencies, why wouldn't you use genetics to correct it, right?
Correct.
And
Correct. Yeah.
if you want to ensure that a child is not born with genetic deficiencies, and if you can do it while the child is a fetus, you will do it in future.
Right.
So
Hmm.
I think the way I look at this whole area is about how do you use technology. Gene editing
Hmm.
is a very powerful tool, a very
Yes.
powerful technology. How do you want to use it? So I think human beings have gone through big technological revolutions with both a plus and a minus. I mean, look at nuclear energy itself. You can either make a bomb or you can produce
Yeah.
energy, right? And it can light up a whole country, right?
Correct. Yep.
And as a with the least impact on the environment. But at
Yeah.
the same time, you can set off a nuclear bomb and it can just be devastating and kill everyone. So it all
Correct.
depends on how you use technology. So I
Correct.
don't
Yeah.
think we should have this discussion about how we should look at genetics in that way. I think you need to look at genetics in a very positive way. What is
Yeah.
the good that can come out of genomics, genetics, and gene editing and gene cloning and what have you? I would
Yeah.
not focus on the bad aspects of
Yeah.
what bad people would do or bad actors would do.
No, I think it's what you're saying in terms of everything, starting with the knife to internet to genetics, all these things. You can use it in a positive way and you can use it in a negative way. And what I meant to say, and I think it's important, is that it's not just the science, there is a sociological, there's a humanistic, there is a great social good that could come out. I mean, when you talk about the right
But
type of brain,
everything
maybe
has
it'll
its, isn't
solve the
it,
world
Lakshmi?
hunger. It's just there are so many
Yeah, but
implications
I
that are
think
beyond science.
everything has these various aspects.
Yeah,
You can't just
absolutely.
confine it to one sector, whether it's
Correct.
IT, whether it's biotech, whether it's any tech.
Mm-hmm.
There's
Yeah,
always I mean, today social media is supposed to have the worst impact on society.
and
So
it
while
also
it's,
connects us.
yeah,
It's allowing us to do this.
exactly. So I think you
Yeah,
need to look at every technology which will have all these ramifications and pluses and minuses, and what is the greater good that it does society. That's what you should
correct.
focus on.
Correct. And continuing on that, because this is one of the areas that's really great for future jobs and expansion. So, as we are talking to a lot of professionals about what are some of the areas we should, train ourselves in, etc., I'd love for you to talk a little bit about what are the different aspects of biotech. It's not, I mean, one is through an engineer or a doctor or whatever, but there are many areas that are coming up now where things are happening. So, in from your point of view, what are some of the new things you're looking at? You invest in new companies as well, and your own company is expanding into different areas. Tell us a little bit about where are we going and what are you excited about in that?
Well, I think biotech is the most exciting field as I can see it, because today when you combine AI, technology, and biotech, it is just amazing.
Right.
Now, what I look at is that what are the various emerging areas? So, obviously, one of them is, of course, synthetic biology. Now,
Mm-hmm.
synthetic biology today is the most sustainable solution that you can provide to many aspects. For example, um, we know that there are many products like, starting with proteins
Yeah.
that can be fermented, okay,
Mhm.
or natural colors and natural flavors that can be fermented. So you don't really destroy biodiversity for that, right?
Yeah.
Then you got, and there are many other uses of synthetic biology in many, many applications. But synthetic biology to me is a very powerful new area. We haven't
Mm-hmm.
even done much with it in terms of what the potential is. Then you
Mm-hmm.
have what is called as personalized medicine, precision diagnostics. You got robotic surgeries. You got drug delivery devices. You got
Yeah.
so much happening in all these fields, right? That's in healthcare. Then you got agri-biotech, where again there's so much happening in agri-biotech.
Mm-hmm.
There is so much happening in enzyme technologies. You're actually replacing all chemical processes with biotransformation, and that
Mm-hmm.
itself is a big positive impact on the environment.
Mm-hmm.
There is in every realm of biotech, from agri-tech to industrial biotech to now, even if you look at biofuels, okay? And in
Yeah.
biofuels, what we should understand is that what we are looking at biofuels right now is unsustainable, because
Yeah.
you're trying to create biofuels from biomass that's produced on land. Okay. But
Yeah.
there are companies today who are actually trying to produce the same biomass through ocean farming, because 70% of the planet is oceans.
Ocean. Yeah.
And that's a much more sustainable solution to biofuels than what we're doing today. So that's
Mm-hmm.
happening. So I think there's so much happening. Even
Mm-hmm.
I feel, energy storage of renewable energy, especially solar energy? The
Yeah.
answer is going to come from biotech because and biology, because photosynthesis is one great form of storing solar energy, which plants
Mm-hmm.
have worked out. We need to
Yeah.
emulate that. Can we decipher that? Can we create energy storage based on photosynthesis? So there
Yeah.
is so much happening in biotech that
Mm-hmm.
I just feel it's the most exciting time for
Yeah.
young entrepreneurs to just let their imagination run wild and to
Yeah.
really look at what all biology has done to solve so many problems and how
Yeah.
we borrow from that. I mean, we hear
Yeah.
very often that, you know, the spider's web has been used to make parachutes or fabric,
Yes. Yeah.
and that's so tensile and strong. And
Mm-hmm.
that now can be produced in a fermenter, if you want.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like I said,
Okay.
synthetic biology can do that.
Right.
There are so many, clues that come from nature to
Mm-hmm.
do so many things that you can start a company based on that. Today,
Correct.
everyone wants to replace plastics with bioplastics, and that's coming
Yes.
from algae, seaweed. This morning, someone told me that they are using algae wedged between some glass to actually purify air because it's like, and then there are so
Yeah.
many plants that can do that, things like that. So
Right.
I just
Right.
feel
Yeah.
that the ideas are there for you to
Yeah.
really
Mm-hmm.
ideate on. Ultimately, it's about translating those ideas into a startup and then scaling it up to a big commercial success.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think actually one of our Ink fellows who's at Parsons School did this, where in a plant they have some ways in which there's some things they inject into the plant. So when it touches contaminated water, it lights up. So it tells you if the water is contaminated. I mean, it's just actually quite amazing how engineering and whether it's plant biology or all these things are coming together to to get us be more aware. I want to come back a little bit on the just one question about the personal side. I wanted to ask you, Kiran, is that as we are building all this, you're building the company, etc. One of the big things for leadership is transition, right? It's sort of you are the entrepreneur, you are the one who's at the helm. Now you have a next level of people who have who you have trained and coming up. What is the because one of the biggest companies have succeeded or failed based on how they have the transition happen. Tell me a little bit about your thoughts on when does a leader should start that plan? How can Biocon be without you? And what are the things you've thought about and put in place? I mean, you're going to be around for another 20, 30 years. That's not the point. It's sort of how do you have that next level and what are your learnings about that? What are some of the things you have done? Because I think this is a very important thing for every leader to think about this.
So, right from the very start, I never wanted to be the sole leader of my business. Okay. So I'm not the kind of leader that believes in commanding and controlling everything. In fact, I'm the kind of leader who wants to put together a great team of people who
Yeah.
are smarter than me. And I can tell you
Yeah.
that every one of my team from day one is much smarter than me when it comes to scientific skills, engineering skills. I think I'm smart because I get the big picture. I'm able to see opportunities ahead of others. I'm able to strategize things very well. I'm able to focus on executing a good idea, right?
Mm-hmm.
So those are my strengths. But I've put together a team that is very good at, for instance, today in my team, I have a great team that knows how to uh, produce some of the most complex molecules, right? So my R&D team is fantastic. I mean, gone are the days when I used to be on the lab bench doing things. That was maybe right in the beginning, but it's more than 30 years since I've done that, right? But the people who are doing all that are way smarter than me. I mean, when I look at how they are developing products or going about their R&D, I mean, it is amazing. I mean, I might give them an idea, but the way they run with it is amazing. Then you've got engineers who are putting up plants. I mean, when I look at all the plants we've created at global scale, I'm quite gobsmacked myself to say, wow, did we do all this? You know, and look at the technologies we've developed. Look at, I have some of the smartest people who are now driving a new IT agenda. I might give them ideas as to what we should be doing, but they are the ones who translate that
Yeah.
and really do much more than what I've asked them to do. I know that we have every part of our organization is driven by professionals, competent people who actually drive the whole business, right? So the company will do very well without me. I can tell you that. I mean, it's in safe hands because I've put together an excellent team, right? So I'm just doing things in a very different way. I keep looking for the new opportunity. I keep
Yeah.
looking for what can we do differently. What new things can we do? What new technologies can we bring into the company? That's what I'm interested in, right? And that's what keeps me
Right.
going. So every time I look for something, even now, I'm so fascinated with AI. I mean, AI right now is
Yes.
overhyped, okay? But I know that in a few years, AI will just do things which we never thought of even today.
Yeah.
So I think I want to learn what AI can do and how we should be using it even at this early stage to
Right.
make ourselves more effective and more productive and more
Mm-hmm.
innovative, right? So you
Yeah.
need to think about that.
Mm-hmm.
Then you need to look at next 5 years, how will these IT-enabled biotech companies look? What should we be doing in which part of our business? I mean, we all talk about paperless offices, paperless labs, paperless this, paperless that. I mean, today I'm even learning the wonderful applications of Chat GPT. Now, Chat
Yes.
GPT is not everything, okay? Chat GPT can be very erroneous in many ways. I mean, when I first started using Chat GPT, I said, this is absolutely wrong. I mean, I don't think they picked up this stuff from the right databases. But as you train Chat GPT, it becomes better and better and it becomes personalized, right?
Correct.
So I
Correct.
realized that Chat GPT is about personalization of Chat GPT and then it works very well for you. It
Right.
can do wonderful things,
Mm-hmm.
but you need to personalize it to yourself and to
Correct.
your needs. It is not a generic thing. Okay.
Right. Right. Yeah.
So, and I keep telling people that look, creativity will never be replaced. So
Correct.
Chat
Absolutely.
GPT and AI can be as smart as it possibly can. I always tell people intuitive learning is something it will take I don't know whether it'll ever do it,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
But
And
it will learn very fast. It will be smarter than most human beings. But at the
yeah.
same time, if you're creative, you can be smarter than AI and everything that goes with it.
Yeah.
So I just feel the world is changing so rapidly, but we also need to keep pace with it in some ways. Of
Absolutely.
course,
Yeah.
I'm at the sunset of my life, but I'm still finding it so exciting to learn new things.
Yeah. I think it's, I mean, I always tell my team that I want to be like Abdul Kalam. I just want to go be giving a talk somewhere and just fall dead, and that's it. So, because it is true. It's such an exciting time right now. You feel like a kid in a candy shop, every day. I guess my question was more about, what you bring to the table, Kiran, while you have an amazing team, is that synthesis, right? In terms of there is a skill of putting those things together and saying, hey, let's go here, let's go there, etc. So, as a leader, especially as a founder leader, it's a very unique skill to be able to synthesize and move forward. How are you training someone? Do you have a COO that you train, or do you have two, three people? Because that synthesis and moving forward is what is what is you. So how do we
Yeah, but
train
I
someone for
think,
that?
there's no such thing as training someone. I think as an ecosystem that I've created an ecosystem of problem solvers and strategic thinkers. And I
Mm-hmm.
think the more you do things together, you osmotically start learning from each other. And I think also, I mean, if I now look at my leadership team, a lot of them, think like me in many ways. Because I think we
Right.
are always trying to solve problems together, right?
Yeah.
And when you start solving problems together, you start thinking like each other. And you
Yeah.
start, innovating in a very different way. So your problem
Correct.
solving becomes really the hallmark of your management style. And
Right.
so
Yeah.
that's the way I have looked at my management style. I've never had to train people or sit them or be shadowing me. That's not what I believe in.
Mm-hmm.
I believe in interacting with people, sharing different viewpoints, having
Mm-hmm.
brainstorming sessions, and then finally coming to conclusions which all of us then feel, yeah, this is right. I remember when
Right.
I was building Biocon, one
Yeah.
of my, I used to constantly have lots of brainstorming sessions with my colleagues. And one of my colleagues, who was the then R&D head, he used to always be very contrarian in his views about many things. And he and I would really have very, very, difficult discussions. And, we would, and people who are listening to us will think, oh my God, this guy is going to get fired. And he would just, if someone came, he'd say, let's continue this discussion after your meeting. And I would say, sure. And the person who would come into my room would say, my God, that was quite a hot discussion. Is that poor fellow going to be fired? I said, not at all. We're going to
Yeah.
continue with this discussion after you leave. And the
Right.
discussion would be very, very heated, very energetic. And ultimately, I would either agree to his viewpoint or he would agree to my viewpoint. But I
Correct.
never ever, told people they should listen to me, if you know what I mean. So there's no
Correct.
such thing as training. It's really
Mm-hmm.
about having these very, very open, candid discussions. And these used to be discussions on technology.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah.
It wasn't even a discussion on policies and what you do here and there. It
Mm.
was really about discussions on how much we should invest in some new technology or how we should look at certain findings. Those are the discussions we would have. And I would
Mm-hmm.
not agree with his way of looking at it. He may not agree with mine. But we used to finally find a solution.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's sort of we used to when I worked at Intel, like Andy Grove used to. There's only two outcomes: either you agree and commit, or you disagree and commit. So let's duke it out totally, and you can fight all you want. But at the end of it, whatever we commit, we all commit, whether you agreed with it or
Exactly.
not. And I think that's very healthy to have that. But at the end, say, okay, then this is what we are all agreeing on. Let's go do that
And I
because
would even do one more thing. If we didn't agree, I would call in another colleague saying, okay, guys, now you mediate. You tell us
yeah.
how we should solve this problem. And we would
Correct.
solve it.
Correct. Correct. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think disagreement is a root.
Yeah.
It's like a positive thing to keep, because if everybody says yes, yes, then we are not looking at different points of view. I want to bring another issue that most people talk about is what we call balance, right? I mean, I always used to say there's nothing called work-life balance. There's work, there's life, you figure out the balance. So one of the things I want to address is, in your case, you and John work together, as a husband and wife, you work together. It's very rare. First of all, there are very few couples who work together to grow a company. And actually, I think it's John would also say that when you had to buy back your shares from Unilever, he put up some money and said he had to pay dowry to marry you instead of you paying him dowry to marry
But
you.
this joke, yeah.
And I've had an opportunity to be with you, and it was like a
Yeah.
lovely, lovely soul. I wanted to ask about, when you're 24/7 working together, when you're building this company, it's your baby, basically. It's like you didn't need to have any other children. I think this is your biggest, the most successful child you can have. And so, in building that, and then there is your personal husband-wife relationship. What was it like, and how did you divide the roles? In some ways, you are much more public than he was. Probably he was much more, tech and operation than you. There's a certain division of labor that happens between the personal and professional life. I really would love for you to address what it is to work with your spouse and create something together. And I mean, I wanted to bring him into the conversation because he was such a big part of what Biocon is. I felt we need to talk about him a little bit in this
Oh, I'm
conversation.
glad you brought it up because
Yeah,
John and I had the most symbiotic relationship you can ever imagine.
yeah,
Okay, as far as our roles were concerned, they were very, very complementary and very distinct. John was a financial guy, a finance guy, and he would take care of all the financial aspects of the business. And he would tell me, you just focus on the technology, you just focus on the science, you focus on the commercial side of that business. I will really focus on making sure that our finances are strong. He was also a good supply chain guy, so he said, leave the supply chain with me because I understand that very well. So things like supply chain, finance, he just was so good at it. And I was very good at, of course, the manufacturing, the technology, the ops, the science, having a strategy to see what products we should develop and those kind of things. So I think we had a wonderful division of responsibilities. But we also did something very different as a couple. Obviously, we didn't want to be 24/7 talking
right.
about this. So, John and I had a lot of different, and I always feel people should be interested in things beyond their work. I
Yeah,
often find that a lot of young people today are too absorbed in their business, and I think you must have some other extracurricular interests.
yeah,
And John and I were very, very fond of, you know, art and music. And we used to enjoy traveling to many parts of the world. And we
yeah,
used to love going and visiting and having holidays.
yeah,
And of course, my family is the same. So even though I have a very brilliant family, they also love their holidays and family time. And I think, every time John and I would go, even on a business trip, we would, if there was a good, musical, or if there's a good opera, or if there's a good, I mean, John never used to like plays, but I would go and see a play. But we loved museums, so we would go and see museums and things
hmm,
like that. So we used to always make time for that.
yeah,
And I just had the most wonderful holidays with John.
yeah, yeah,
And John and I really enjoyed our time together in a very holistic way.
hmm,
Work was work and play was play, and we used to enjoy spending those times together. Uh,
hmm,
you know, and he was a big, rock of Gibraltar for me because he really was my strength. He would push
yeah,
me in front, like you said. He always say, "You are the face of the company. You are the one who
right.
has
And he
you
was
know,
very proud of you for
was
that,
very proud of me, and he would say, "You
Yeah,
are the one who has to face the camera. You are the one who has to face the press. Don't. I'm in the background supporting you. I don't want to be there." So he would be
yeah,
like that. He would push me. And I
yeah,
think I really just admired him for that because a lot of men don't have that kind of security
yes,
to do that with their wives. But
correct, correct,
but the ones who do are very strong men.
correct.
And I
That's
feel
true.
a lot of us women who are in that leadership role have very
Right.
strong men who support us.
Absolutely. Yeah. 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 And, before we take the questions, I do want to talk a little bit about your mother, who I'm sure was a source of inspiration for you. I've had the opportunity to meet her. She was an entrepreneur at a very late age and really raised you. Well, your father was your, inspiration for all the things you did. Your mother was totally the rock that was next to you. Maybe tell us a little bit about what did you learn from her about with her own, persistence with life per se.
So, she was the most resilient and courageous woman that I ever will know. Okay. She was widowed at the age of about 64, and she thought her life had come to an end, in the sense that she said she had nothing to look forward to. And I, of course, she always tells me, she said, I must remind you, Kiran, that you were the one who told me life has to go on and give it your best, and you got many things you can do to keep yourself busy, keep yourself engaged, because you need a purpose, you need to continue. And that's what my mother did. I mean, she died at the age of 91, but from 64 to 91, she spent those years building a wonderful business. She started growing organic vegetables. She loved that business. Then she set up a dry cleaning and laundry service, which really was her passion. And
Mm-hmm.
she was so proud of it because she was doing so well, and she had run a very good business. And she was a very wealthy woman in her own way. She never would
Yeah,
take money from me. And it was very funny because on every one of our birthdays or an anniversary, she would give us a small check. And we would always feel so thrilled, and she would feel so proud that she's not taking money from us, she's giving it to us.
yeah,
And in fact, John used to joke with us, saying, "Mummy, now we need to have your IPO." So she was just an amazing person, and I
yeah,
learned so much from her. And even before she died, she said to me, she said, "Kiran, don't grieve for me. I've lived a wonderful life. And remember, you have to live every minute that life gives you, because you're doing such an important thing.
yeah.
And life is not to be wasted, it's to be lived. So live every minute." And she gave me, and I kept telling her, "Why are you speaking like this?" She said, "No, I want you to know I can't be there forever. But I
Correct.
want you to be strong. Like you gave me strength, I want to give you strength."
Yeah,
That's the kind of woman she was. She was an amazing woman. She really inspired me so deeply, I can't tell you. I mean, I
yeah.
really miss her and I really miss John.
Right. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And so I wanted Neha, I was just going to call her to say we have a lot of questions. So maybe Neha can decide on a few of the questions to ask you, and then we can. And thank you so much, Kiran. I really wanted to make sure John and your mom were part of this conversation because so much of who you are is, I mean, they're part of you. So really, I
Thanks
thank you
for
for
bringing
that.
up this.
Yeah. Go ahead,
Thank you.
Neha.
Thanks, Lakshmi, and thank you, Kiran. That was absolutely fabulous. I thought it was amazing also how you all covered so many diverse topics in a very short span of time. And my
Yeah.
God, the Q&A box and the chat box has been going crazy. So I've been trying to combine some questions and put it together. By the way, somebody wrote, Shubhashri has written, I want to listen from you about a woman who said, if Vajpayee can rule a country at 75, why not me at 65 and become an entrepreneur? I remember that line of your mother's. I had the pleasure of interviewing her for our
Yeah.
Open Ceiling Club. I'm sure Shubhashri has seen that video. And
Yeah.
I'll always remember that line that she said. On a related topic though, while we're talking about support systems, Pooja and Rajshri have both written that, you mentioned that having a supportive family member is important in achieving one's goals. What if someone doesn't have that kind of supportive system? How should they navigate such a situation?
You can create a support system from anywhere. I think, your friends can be your support system. If your family is not such a great support system, your friends can be a support system, your colleagues can be a support system. So I feel that all of us have a support system in some way, you know. And so even if I know that at work, I know many women who tell me how difficult it is at home, but how they find so much support at work, and that's what keeps them going. I know that. So it's great if you have a support, and even there, I know that there one side of the family is supportive, the other is not. Generally, the in-laws are not supportive, but your parents are supportive. That's what I find in most of the women who work at Biocon. That many of them come and share their problems with me, and they say, I don't have a very understanding in-laws. but my mom and my dad are fantastic, and I get so much support at work that keeps me going. So I think you need to find your support system, because obviously the parents don't live with her all the time, but work is work. And she said, I love coming to work because I feel so good that my colleagues are here to support me.
Yeah, and I think we need to invest in finding that support system also. We need
Yes,
to invest
that's
in building those relationships, building those
You
networks.
don't want to be isolated, you don't want to feel alone. Because if you're
right.
isolated and alone, you give up very fast.
Correct.
There's this constant debate about why do women quit or why do they exit, right? And very often it is because they haven't formed or created that support system, and they're alone. So when it gets too hard, they give up.
Correct. Yeah,
Whereas
I
when you
just want
have
to
a
say,
support system, they help you to get over that problem or that
I
challenge.
want to say one thing, that Neha, what you said, the word is important, is that they have to invest in these relationships because they don't. I mean, if you're family, luckily it just comes automatically. But otherwise, whether it's your friends or belonging to Herky or whatever it is, you need to invest in that. And the other thing I do want to say is that a lot of women take responsibility onto themselves without anybody asking. The minute there is something to be done at home, they're the first ones who assume, I think I should quit my job and sit without even discussing, without even asking that, hey, can I do this? I think we need to learn how to ask for what we want. We're so busy taking care of everyone else, we don't ask, put the family together and say, I really want to work. It means this. Can we work together? At least ask before you give up. I think we put our hand up to save the world even before anybody asks us. So I think it's a very important thing to invest in your ecosystem and also ask for what you want.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Thank you for that. Then
Yeah.
we have Vidya and Abha who asked a related question about, that compared to the time when you had started your entrepreneurship journey, do you think it's easier for women to lead organizations today, or do you think it's the same? And 10 years down the line, do you think it will become much better?
No, I think it's much better today than it was during my time. Because during my time, the business environment was hostile to women.
Yeah.
Today they're accepting of women, but then women also need to manage those expectations, okay? And they should not uh, cringe or buckle down at the least number of at the first signs of any difficulties or obstacles. See, I don't know what women expect in leadership roles, okay? But leadership roles are tough, whether you're a man or a woman. And I think leadership roles have to be gone about with a sense of responsibilities to know what is expected of you, right? I have a lot of women leaders in my organization who are very responsible, and they're very confident, and they know what it takes to lead. I think a lot of women don't know what it takes to lead. And I don't know what they think is expected of leadership, but I think we really need to get women to understand that, right?
Right.
So I just think that it is much more competitive because there are more women. Okay, Neha, if I were to look at myself, yes, I was the only one of those rare women who would be leading an organization. But today you see so many women leading organizations, so it is competitive. Then the unfairness, of course, begins to be compared, right? When it's competitive, you start getting compared. Is this leader better? Is that leader better? You don't do that to men, right? But amongst the women, you start comparing, and that becomes a little annoying, I would say. But having said that, I would say it's much easier for women today to lead than it was in the past. There is so much of supportive policies for women to lead. I think every company feels ashamed if they don't have women leaders. So there's a positive affirmative action to
Yeah.
make sure that women have the opportunity to lead. So I think it's much simpler and easier today. And it's going to be even easier tomorrow. I mean, if you look at the
Yeah.
number of women coming into the academic milieu, the the number of women who graduate, the number of women who act, the ratio is much higher than ever.
Yeah. And I think the whole advent of AI in a very strange way is going to bring that so much more, because I think there's a lot of creative thinking that's important now. There's a lot of multitasking. The synthesis is more important than expertise. So I
Absolutely.
think this is truly going to be a century of women
Yeah,
leadership.
I know, and I like what you said, Lakshmi, because I really think women should understand that, you know, the opportunities are just wonderful for women.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
today, thanks to technology, I think women can do so many things. And
Yeah.
I think we shouldn't lose those opportunities and we should not
Yeah.
make excuses anymore, you
Yeah.
know, because I think we are there, we are ready for it, and we should really deliver.
And I think the key is for women to start asking for what they want or being clear about what they want. There are times you might say, "Hey, I want to take a step back." Then don't complain, "I have not become a VP." Then if you become a VP, if you have to do something, then go ahead. I mean, I'll give you a small example. Like, I was traveling somewhere when my son was a baby and he had a very high fever, and I started feeling very guilty, and I was like, "Oh, should I come back?" And I was just hyperventilating. And my husband got on the phone and said, "Do you think I can't take care of him? Why do you act as though you are the only one who can take care of him? I know how to take care of him, but I'll take care of him my own way. Don't call me every 10 minutes and ask me, 'Did you do this? Did you do that?'" So that really like made me think for a minute of the problem is with me. It's true. I think only I know how to take care of him. My husband has no clue how to take care of him. So it's just that he has his own way. But I think if you let go a little bit, I think a lot of us, you want to be perfect in everything. I want to be there for every school thing, and I also want to be there for every meeting, and I also want to be there, when the IPO happens. You got to give in somewhere, and let the village raise the kid and the company also. You don't need to be there all the time. So I think this
And it
perfection,
will
I
be
think
great for both. It will
women
be
were
great
pushed
for the
so
village.
much to be
It
perfect.
will be great for everyone.
Yeah, so it's just like it's
And it'll
okay.
be
You don't
great for
have to be
everyone. It'll be
perfect
great for the
everywhere.
village, it'll be great for the kid, and great for the company. And of
Yeah,
course,
it's
great for that
just
woman.
like it's impossible. This
Yeah.
By
sense
the
of
way, I
perfection
think
has
I
to be
want
thrown out the
every,
window. It's
no, but
okay.
Lakshmi, I want every woman who's listening to this to know that kids are very proud of their moms when they're working. I think
Yes.
I know every working friend I have, their kids are so proud of their moms.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not one of them feels neglected. Not one of them feels, oh, you're not looking after me like my other friends. They don't feel like that.
Yeah.
They always go with lot of confidence, like, oh, my mom works, my mom does this. I mean, when you hear those kids talking, you know how proud they are of their moms.
If
Correct.
only they said all that in front of their moms, but at least they're saying it behind them.
But I'm sure they say that to their friends. I've heard it.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Actually,
Listen
on
to it,
that
you'll feel it.
Yeah, on that note, Kiran, I'm going to end with one last question. And I know we had many more, but I'm looking at the time and I don't want to overextend. But Labita asked that what should a 10-year-old today focus on learning, considering where the world is headed?
I don't think you should start looking at the future. I don't think any of us learned because we were looking at what will it happen in the future. Today, a 10-year-old has to learn what they can learn, right? And
Mhm.
there's so much to learn. I mean, today the way they teach 10-year-olds only is very different. I mean, they're all naturals at smartphones and computers and this and that. We were never okay. I mean, we grew up in an age where we never knew technology. We never even when I was growing up, I didn't know what a television was, what a computer was anything was, right? But I think every child has to learn what is available. And then you have to be curious enough to learn more than what is taught to you. That was always my view. That whatever was taught in class was a nice foundational learning. But I was always curious to know what more should I know about this subject. And today, technology allows you to learn much more than what you're taught in a classroom. That's what kids have to keep learning about. And I don't
Yeah.
think you can start saying, oh, what should I prepare myself for in the next 40 years or 20 years or 10 years? No, I don't think life works that way. Because technology is changing at such a rapid pace that what you think is going to be there in the next 10 years may not be there. Maybe something
Mhm.
else will come. So learn whatever you're learning, which is contemporary. Be curious enough to question some of it and learn beyond what you're taught in a classroom. That is
Yeah.
what will prepare you for the future. You have to be resilient, you have to be adaptable, and you have to be responsive.
I think, Kiran,
I
thank you. That was a,
do want
yeah,
to say one thing. I
yeah,
think for
Lakshmi.
actually, the training is for the parents, not for the children. It's the parents who push the kid into, you must be an expert here, you must be an expert there. I think we should teach our, first of all, we should listen to what they're saying. There is, some may like, math, some may like music, some may like whatever. Let people do what they're good at. But the most important thing I feel is you have to learn how to learn. That's the only thing. It's not about what you're learning, it's the process of learning. If I throw a problem at you, can you divide it into pieces and say, okay, I'm going to do this and then this? It doesn't matter whether it's a biotech or whether it is tech or whether it is music or whatever. Can you synthesize? Can you learn how to learn something new? And the other thing I do want to highlight in what Kiran said is that being interested in things other than your music. She said your work. She said that when she and John went out, they listened to music concerts. They went to other things. So we need to, the kids need to see us do things outside of our work also, and make sure we don't push them into, from the third grade on, you better become an engineer or this or that. Let's hear what they are good at and see what we can do. This is the most amazing times we are living at. And I think we should give the opportunity for our kids to be the best versions of themselves, not best versions of ourselves. So I think they have to learn how to learn. And if there's anything out of this interview, it's that, with Kiran, it's like, not a brewmaster, fine, I'll be a biotech. Oh, biotech, I'll be this. I'll be a philanthropist. And didn't even get a chance to talk about her philanthropy. She's everything from cancer research to policy to education to, something else. So I think to be a little of a polymath, to be interested in multiple things is extremely important. And I want to highlight that's what the conversation today is truly. I really want to thank Kiran, is about how many different perspectives you brought into this and what you stand for in this world. Supporting many, you support Ricky Cage, the music, all the way up to setting up a cancer research. So the way you have supported everything from Bangalore to India to issues across the globe. I'm really glad we know you, and I'm really glad we had this conversation.
Thanks.
Thank you so much, Kiran. I can't thank you enough for doing this. We are very excited about the book. Yeah. And,
Yeah.
your full interview will definitely be scanned in the book as well for anybody who wants to watch this later. I know we couldn't get to all the questions that came in, but you can see our chat box is like buzzing. Everybody loved the session. Thank you so much for it. Before we wrap up, I want to remind everyone that our next Power Pack session is going to be with nobody else than Vani Kola, the managing partner at Kalari Capital. And that's going to be on June 6th. And that's going to be another remarkable story, another incredible woman who's redefining leadership. So we'll definitely see you there. And Kiran, thank you so much.
Most
Thanks,
welcome. It's a
Kiran.
pleasure. Thank you.